The news is coming fast out of the draft combine as the Chicago Bulls have met with Trey Johnson as well, which is interesting as he is slated to be a top 4 to top 6 pick in this draft. And they have a scheduled meeting with Liam McNeeley as well. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Trey Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, it's my favorite time of year, man. This is the time where I got to stay by the computer all day, every day, because the news is coming fast when it comes down to it. So the Chicago Bulls also today at the draft combine met with Trey Johnson, which is a really interesting thing here because Trey Johnson is a player that was originally kind of people were looking at him in the top 4 to 5. He's a guy that I am very high on in this draft. He's one of the people that I would not be mad at the Bulls getting regardless of position, just because he does shape up to be potentially that good of a basketball player. But Trey Johnson is a guy that's bringing a lot. He could bring a lot of scoring upside to the Chicago Bulls. You look at him, he's about 6'5" with shoes on. He measures about 6'3.5" at the draft combine. But this guy has so much of the scoring that the Bulls are lacking as far as off-ball creation. He can come off screens. He's a better catch-and-shoot player as far as something like that. And he brings some legit size at that shooting guard spot. Now, he did come in at measuring a little bit lower at the draft combine than people were expecting. Some people have been looking at him as potentially a shooting guard / small forward. I think with his combine measurements, it firmly puts him as a shooting guard at the next level. What could this mean for the Chicago Bulls? Listen, there have been some talks around potentially him falling in this draft. Now, I don't think he's going to fall as low as something as 12 for the Chicago Bulls. So it's interesting that the Bulls met with him looking to potentially trade up. Is that something that could happen? Potentially? You don't know, right? I think you got to look at all that when it comes down to it. But I think for Trey Johnson to fall to the Chicago Bulls, it would have to mean a combination of things happen, because I don't think the Bulls could trade up high enough. So I still think a trade up would be needed. But then at the same time, he would still have to fall down past a certain position for that to happen, unless there's some shit going on in the draft combine that none of us know about as of yet, where he could fall even lower than that. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't expect that to happen. The lowest I've seen him go is like 6th in some mock drafts, but even then, they talk about him as if he's a player that should go much higher than that. So I don't expect Trey Johnson to be a realistic candidate for the Chicago Bulls personally, but you never know what's going to happen. The Ringer does have him going as low as 8th. So I don't see that happening. But that is what the Ringer has for Trey Johnson. And like I said, this is nothing defensively here. He brings nothing for you defensively. But he brings all the advanced type of shooting that you need that could actually be a really good backcourt pairing next to Josh Giddey. The question is, if the Bulls were to get a Trey Johnson, what does that mean for the future of Coby White? Way too early to speculate on anything like that quite yet. But it is something to try to monitor and see what's going to happen there ultimately when it comes down to it. Now, so that's my thought process there. Again, don't necessarily expect anything to happen with that. That would be the Bulls getting almost what happened with Modest twice. Like, not to say that Trey Johnson was ever projected to go number 1, but as high up as that he was projected to go. If the Bulls get him at number 12, that would be ridiculous potential value that you're looking at there. I doubt that's going to happen, but stranger things have happened. The next guy that the Chicago Bulls have scheduled a meeting with, they haven't actually met with him yet, but it has come out that they have scheduled a meeting with Liam McNeeley. Now, this is a guy that's slated to go lower at first round. What does that mean? He's a wing, right? He's a 6'7", 210-pound small forward there. A solid player. I want to make no mistake about it. I like Liam McNeeley, but not at 12. I just don't think he's a player that you can draft at number 12. Most mocks have him going after pick 20, right? But catch and shoot threat, really good. He creates and moves off ball really good when it comes down to it. His catch and shoot threes are ridiculous. He doesn't need much space to get that three-point shot off at all. Not an athletic player. Not an athletic player at all. But I think when you look at him when it comes down to, like, he's a guy that has a lot of the advanced type of shots that you need here. So whereas the first set of players that we talked about the Bulls meeting with were basically all defensive upside, this is now a set of players that is up. McNeeley, Trey Johnson are offense. It's not really defense that you're looking at for there. Even if you can develop defense with those guys, this is an offensive point where it comes. So, we'll see what happens there. But like I said, I like Liam McNeeley, only 19 years old. He'll be 20 by the start of the season. And I wouldn't mind the Bulls trading back into the first round to get somebody like Liam McNeeley if they go big in defense in earlier in the first round. So maybe that's what the Bulls are doing. Maybe the Bulls are looking at, if you're trying to look at this set of candidates, maybe there's a trade up, trade down. That's what it comes down to. I don't know, right? Tim Brazil says, okay, this is better. Tags in Tech says, interesting. Definitely interesting. Trey Johnson would be a dream, but I doubt it. Bulls are meeting with everyone from all reports. Could we see a trade up? I'll be surprised. I would really be surprised, too. Liam McNeeley would be a solid pickup for the Bulls. Decent wing would mean modest being the 4. Exactly. Trey Johnson falling would be crazy. Would be like modest situation. I completely agree with you there. I like Trey also, but, bro, if we can't get a big, I would love Jace Richardson out of Michigan State. The kid has a burner. Yeah, but Trey's better. I'm just being clear. Trey Johnson is better. Just period. So, like, if you're talking about between the two of those, he's better. He's just chill for real. That's why they met. And that could very well be. That's why they could be. What's a player comp for Trey Johnson? A bigger Cam Thomas would be that, like a mix between Cam Thomas and Kobe White. Somewhere between there would be probably good type of comps for Trey Johnson. So, like I said, tremendous offensive upside. He can do every type of offensive shot that you want. But defensively, he doesn't really bring much at this point in his career. So that's what you got to look at for. So we'll see what happens there. Overall, like I said, it's something to just monitor. We'll see what it like somebody said that the Bulls they're looking at all options. It's just like Ryan Bowles does with the Bears. He views everybody, right? He sits down and tries to meet with everybody that will sit down and meet with them. I expect it to be this, and that's what good front offices do. Good front offices do that. They have all the information possible there in case something unexpected happens in the draft. So if they met with him, great. It doesn't necessarily mean that the Bulls are going to try to pursue any crazy move, but, hey, you just never know what's going to happen and what could present itself for sure. So we shall see. We shall see. Trade our pick and Kobe for Trey Johnson. Here's what I'll say with that. And again, I'm going to always throw this caveat out here because I'm a Kobe guy, but also Kobe White fans or stans are crazy as fuck. I'm in no way saying that the Bulls should do that, but I'm saying that if the Bulls know or they have come to the realization we're going to pay Giddey, we can't pay Kobe too. Now, they can financially per the salary cap, but if they come up with that decision and they say, we aren't going to pay Kobe, or we don't think Kobe's going to re-sign here. If you move Kobe with your number 12 and get a Trey Johnson, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. Not even in the least bit. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. But that's my time. I just wanted to bring this quick update so you guys had this one as well. If anything else drops, news drops, we drop. It's very simple around here. But as of right now, that's all we got. Love you guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, 773-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.